buyer's remorse. Okay? Think about buyer's remorse. Where you go, you buy something, you're like, change my mind. Can I return this, right? Okay. So who has the Democratic Party lost lately in the last 8 years?
Men.
A guy named Elon Musk. You lost.
Yep.
You lost Tesla. He left you. Young men. You've lost young. Do you see the statistics coming in of young men? Just came out yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, right?
Dropped.
So then you have even girls that are being interviewed, who would you rather date? Would you rather date a liberal man or a conservative man?
Conservative.
I'd rather date a conservative man, right? So what is this? Young men leaving the Democratic Party. This is ridiculous,
Patrick,
right?
they lost Donald Trump.
Yeah, they lost Donald
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they lost him maybe a little bit earlier than the rest of these people, but they lost Donald Trump. Hey, let me give you something really interesting about.
That's what I was about to go. Tulsi, RFK. Look at the people you're losing.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I go all over the place, right? You have so many incredible Democrats in this country, right? But it's different than what you actually see up on TV. Like TV Democrats are very different than Democrats in this country. Go to Pennsylvania. Look at the Steelworkers. Yeah. They've been Democrats for 3 generations. You know why? Because they wanted great working conditions. They wanted great wages, etc. I have people who come up to me. Oh, my grandfather was Democrat. My father was Democrat. And kind of I've switched over to Trump, but. They'd be rolling in their grave if they knew that I was voting, Republican. I go, let me ask you a question. Would your grandfather, the big steel worker in Pennsylvania, would your grandfather have approved, 6'5" guys, men my height, swimming in women's sports? No, he'd be rolling in his grave. Would he approve, transgender studies being taught to, your fifth, Guys, I left New York because there was a school that literally, it put up on the board, man, woman, boy, girl, and they'd literally, I'd ask your kids to identify where they were on that spectrum. These kids are like 4 years old, right? And I asked the question, would your grandfather, steel worker, tough as hell, right? The toughest guys in the country, would your grandfather have approved this nonsense? Absolutely. No, he would have been rolling in his grave, right? The reality is the Democratic Party over the last 30 years has left everyone.
Yes.
Has left everyone. And honestly, the crazier they get, the faster that whole kind of, exodus gets perpetuated.
By the way, this is one of the things when you think about, you said Pittsburgh, right? The steel workers in U.S., okay, Rob, go to 1950s. You said 3 generations, right, Pittsburgh, when you're saying 3 generations. Rob, go to 1950s, steel workers in U.S. Just Google it. Go to 1950s, total steel workers in U.S., okay? The number should be around 700,000, okay? If you go to one of the charts, if you can, the numbers around 700,000 is what we used to have, okay? You should be able to find it. Anyways, that number today is 140,000.
From 700,000?
From 700,000 to 140,000. If you just use ChatGPT right now, Rob, and Brandon, if you're listening to this, if you send it to Rob, that'd be great because it's right there.
1940 employed nearly 700,000.
700,000 in the 50s. Okay? Yeah. And reach its peak production in 69, okay? Today we're at 140,000. Out of the top 15 steel companies in the world, 0 is U.S., 9 is China, and on top of that, go to Pittsburgh. I just pulled this up right now. Let's go look at the mayors in Pittsburgh. Go all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom right there. And let's go up. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, 2022 to today. Ed Gainey, Democrat. Bill, Democrat. Luke, 06 to 14, Democrat. Bob O'Connor, Democrat. Thomas, 9406, Democrat. Sophie, Democrat. Richard, Democrat. This is 77. Now this is pre-me being born. 54, Democrat. 53, this is 50s, Democrat. 52, Democrat. Watch what happens here. Keep going. The 46 to 59, Democrat. Republican.
Bingo.
Republican.
Wow.
You used to have jobs when you voted for Republicans, and you lost your jobs, Pittsburgh. And you know what's happening right now? People are sitting there saying, dude, I'm no longer the Democrat that you're explaining is not the Democrat of what it used to be. Tonight, it ends at midnight. I just want to remind everybody. Next week, we're running a sweepstake for next week, the big game next week, Game 5 in New York against L.A., October 30th. And this is what we're doing. For every dollar spent on merch, VTmerch.com, we got 15 new hats. This is officially the #1 selling new hat that came about. We got a bunch of other ones there. The polo shirts are going left and right, but for every dollar you spend on merch, up to $1,000, it will go into sweepstakes. And then tomorrow we will pull a name, and one of you will be joining us next Wednesday, October 30th at Game 5 and we're excited about it. But it ends tonight, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, at midnight. Do you have any other thing? And by the way, we'll get you one ticket. You'll be with us, one seat when you join us, and on top of that, $2,500 for flight and room. And Tom, maybe if you got any other thing to add to it.
No purchase necessary for the PBD Podcast 2024 Baseball Sweepstakes, sponsored by Valuetainment and open only to legal residents of the United States and District of Columbia, 18 years and older. Entry deadline again tonight, October 25th at 11:59, midnight tonight. For full entry and rules, visit vtmerch.com, where you can buy the merchandise. $1 spent, one entry in the contest, up to $1,000 spent. And you can also find it in the description for this episode of the podcast, found on the PBD Podcast channel on YouTube. Void where prohibited by law.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.